गुरुमलम् श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So we are in chapter 11 and here we are sharing the quiz based on the last session from verse number 1 to 14 which we covered. So we request you to read the questions carefully and mark the correct answers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Question number 1. What is the effect of hearing the most confidential knowledge? So the correct answer is all the illusions are dispelled. Option number A.
Question 2. Parameshwar refers to God of all demigods. First option is the right answer.
Question 3. Arjun desired to see Krishna's universal form to establish Krishna's divinity for all, to convince others, to set a criteria for future. So all of the above is the correct answer.
Question 4. Krishna exhibits his universal form, and the right answer is 5 times.
Next question. After seeing the universal form, Arjuna was bewildered and astonished. His hair stood on the end. He bowed his head and offered prayers. All of the above. So all of the above.
Question 6. Because of their friendly relationship, Arjuna demands Krishna to show the universal form. And the answer is false. Because Krishna requests. Arjuna requests Krishna, but does not order the Supreme Lord.
Universal form is transcendental but temporary. So we saw in the last session that how universal form, though it is transcendental, yet it is temporary. Unlike the other forms of the Supreme Lord, which is eternal and permanent, this one is transcendental and temporary form.
Question 8. Universal form is actual and highest form, and the answer is unfortunately false. Universal form is not the highest form. Universal form manifests material elements which are situated within the Lord, and the highest form is the two-handed form of Krishna.
Actually, we need to understand how something which is temporary can be the highest. So in the previous one, we have marked it as temporary. Arjuna could see the entire universe sitting at one place. So yes, we discussed again this in detail, that how amazing it was that sitting at one place, Arjun could actually see everything and everyone, the entire universe. So correct answer is true.
Question 10. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. And almost everyone has got this answer right. The answer is true.
Great. So moving ahead in this chapter, we would be getting into the next section now, from verse number 15 to verse number 45, prayers of Arjuna. So Arjuna has just now seen the universal form of Krishna. We discussed that Krishna gave him the transcendental vision, and Krishna says that you cannot see with your ordinary eyes. So here I give you the divine vision, and then you can see. And then in the last section, we were reading about what Sanjay sees Arjuna seeing. So Sanjay's description was there and Krishna's description was there. And now we would see that how Arjun is going to describe this Kala Roop, or this universal form of the Supreme Lord. And he would also see not only this form, but in this form, he would see the future outcomes of the war, that what would happen by the end of the war. All that actually would be presented in front of Arjun now itself. And towards the end, we will see that Arjun would ask two very significant questions to Krishna. So this is all what we are going to discuss today. So hope everyone is ready to see this universal form, which will be described in much detail in the upcoming verses. Arjunuvacha Pashyami devanstava devadehe sarvanstatha bhuta vishesha sanghan Brahmanamisham kamalasanastam rishimscha sarvanugramscha divyan.
Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents." So here Arjuna begins to describe what he is able to see. And the first thing we notice is that Arjuna is addressing Krishna. Krishna does not lose his individuality. while showing this universal form. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna. Arjuna is still talking to Lord Krishna, and he's saying that in your body, I can see all the devatas. I can see many other living entities, and I can see Brahma. So in this universe, Vedic cosmology explains that how Brahma's planet, or where the Brahma Loka is, that it is situated on the topmost portion of this universe. So Arjuna, while sitting on this chariot in the battlefield Kurukshetra on this earth, could see Brahma's planet, see Brahma sitting on that lotus flower, as well as he could see Lord Shiva, the sages, and divine serpents. So this is referring to the bottom of the universe, where the lowest region, where the Lord is residing and holding up this whole universe. From Garbhodaksha, Vishnu's navel, the whole lotus stem comes, the lotus and Brahmaji. So he is able to see the bottom of the universe, he is able to see the top of the universe. So sitting in one place, everything becomes visible to him, from the highest region to the lowest region. So such a vision is impossible. This is not possible to be seen by anyone, and that's why it was explained earlier that there was no human who had such a vision earlier. So it is only by Lord's grace. So when there is Lord's grace, then impossible becomes possible.
Actually, this is a very interesting picture there, if we see that how when Krishna is manifesting this universal form and Arjuna is sitting down and praying, and the further verses we will read also about these various demigods that they could also see. So we can see them peeping from the clouds and appreciating
higher
that.
planetary systems also.
Yes, from the higher planetary systems, appreciating that amazing transcendental form of the Supreme Lord. अनेकबाहोदरविक्तर्नेत्रं पश्यामि त्वां सर्वतोऽनन्तरूपं नान्तं न मध्यं न पुनस्तवादिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्वर विश्वरूपा. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. So this is how huge and all-pervasive this universal form was, that Arjuna is describing that he's seeing like countless, many, many arms and bellies and mouths and eyes everywhere in that form. So which is the mouth which belongs to which one? Like it was all so very bewildering. And he also says that there is no end, no middle, and no beginning. So this form is all, everywhere, all encompassing. So this is the description of how Krishna is actually unlimited. And through him, everything could be seen. So now he was seeing Krishna, and through Krishna, he could actually see everything around. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha Tejo Rashim Sarvato Deeptimantam Pashyami Tvam Nirikshayam Samantat Deeptanalarka Dyutim Aprameyam.
Durnirikshayam. So Arjuna is finding it very difficult to look at this form. Your form is difficult to see. Why? Because of its glaring effulgence spreading on all sides like blazing fire or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. So Arjuna is explaining that this form is very, very difficult to see. Why? Because it is so effulgent, it is glaringly bright. And this effulgence is spreading everywhere like blazing fire. Really huge fire that is burning. Or like the radiance of the sun. We experienced this when we were discussing the last week, that if we go up during the noon time and go up and see the bright sun. It's so difficult to, I mean, if you look at the sun, we may run the risk of becoming blind or turning blind, may damage our eyes. And so that is the form, and this form, this glowing form, Arjuna is able to see everywhere. So can we just imagine that how effulgent the whole sky has become for Arjuna? And everywhere it is not just the form, but those forms are adorned with various crowns, clubs, discs. And the previous session we saw other verses where it was mentioned of the garlands and the different uh, scented scents that have been offered to the Lord. So they were all very, very gorgeous forms actually. So the form Arjuna saw was like a blazing sun.
Tvam aksharam paramam vedettvayam Tvam asya vishvasya paramam nidhanam Tvam avyaya shashvata dharma gopta Sanatanastvam purusho mato me. You are the supreme primal objective. So here again Arjuna is ascertaining, or he is telling that how he is completely convinced of Krishna's supremacy. He says that you are supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. So here Arjuna is bringing forth many points. First, he says that you are the supreme primal objective, and with that he confirms that how Krishna is the supreme, and Arjuna completely agrees with that, because what he was seeing now, it is completely unheard. So he can actually see that how Krishna is the ultimate resting place of all universe, because everything sitting at one place, he could see right in front of him in Krishna's body. So he could see this universal form, everything is actually within Krishna. He also says that you are inexhaustible and you are oldest. Now, when we talk about old, when we associate with old, the word old does not indicate something very nice or beautiful. Generally, like people when they grow old, or when the things that becomes old, so it is like, okay, so it is old and it is growing older, and then finally we give it up and we get the other one. Similarly, the body also, it keeps growing older and older, and then it becomes the skin wrinkles, and yeah, the whole deterioration happens. The skin wrinkles, the hair turns white, the teeth falls off, the vision reduces. So everything is reducing by that. But here when we talk that Krishna is the oldest, but Krishna is still the most attractive and the oldest. So Krishna old not in that sense, but he is the oldest because from him everything is coming out. And the final point what he says here is he's the maintainer of eternal religion. So whatever Krishna does, that is dharma. Whatever Krishna tells us to do, that is dharma. Krishna is the maintainer of eternal religion. So now getting into the next subsection, verse number 19 to 25, where Arjun describes the Kalaroop. Anadimadhyantamanantaviryam Anantabahum Shashi Surya Netram Pashyami Tvam Deeptahutashavakram Svatejasa Vishwamidam Tapantam.
You are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. So here Arjuna is continuing to marvel at this stupendous form that is in front of him, which has just completely bewildered Arjuna, and he's just describing it. You are without origin, middle, or end. There is no beginning, which he said a little earlier, that I'm not able to see where it started and where it is ending. It's everywhere. And what do I call middle? Do I call this part middle or that part middle? So there's no middle, there's no end, there's no beginning. Your glory is unlimited. And again, Arjuna is saying that you have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are your eyes. So the sun and the moon that we see every day, they are the eyes of the Lord. And he says that you, blazing fire is coming from your mouth, and it is just burning up this entire universe. So one thing we need to understand that sometimes there is a repetition. Here we see that some description becomes repetitive. Arjuna is repeatedly talking about it. And this is not a flaw, but this is, describes the astonishment where Arjuna is experiencing. Out of his astonishment and out of the uncomparable glories of the Lord, that such repetition becomes natural for the devotee, and still it cannot completely describe the glories of the Lord. So even after repeating, so it is not sufficient to describe the glories of what Arjuna was seeing.
Dvava prithavyoridam antaram hi vyaptam tvayena dishascha sarva drishtvaadbhutam rupamokram tavedam lokatrayam pravyatitam mahatman. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. So now, so far, Arjun was describing how wonderful that form was, how astounding that form was. But now he is mentioning something little more. He's saying that seeing this wondrous and terrible form, so he's using that word terrible form, Ugram, and he says all the planetary systems are perturbed. So not only Arjuna is seeing this beautiful and what adjective can we use for this form? This amazing, outstanding, terrific, terrifying form. Not he was alone seeing, but others in other planetary system also saw it. So we saw that picture, that how different people were from the higher planets were seeing that form. So they were also getting disturbed because nobody had ever seen such a form of Krishna. So those who were seeing, everybody was disturbed there. So that is why it is mentioned that all the planetary systems are perturbed.
And this also shows that it is not that Arjuna was dreaming of something or he was hallucinating. There were so many other, we can use the word witness, from the high planetary systems who were seeing this.
So he says that how Krishna is spread throughout, sun and moon are your eyes, blazing fire is coming forth. And he says that the space between heaven and earth, so all the space in between, everything is filled by Krishna's presence. So every atom, Krishna is actually present. And this is how he was seeing that everywhere Krishna is present. Lokatrayam, the three worlds. So everywhere he could actually see. He could see the three worlds, and then he could also see Krishna's presence in all the three worlds. Amihi tvam sur sangha vishanti kechid bhita prajalayo grananti swastiti uktva maharshi siddhi sangha Stuvanti tvam stuti pushkalabhi.
All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying, Swasti, Swasti, all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. So, what was introduced in the previous verse is more vividly described here, that there are hosts of very powerful devatas, but seeing this majestic and indescribably powerful form of the Lord, even those powerful demigods felt powerless, and they are surrendering before the Lord, and they they're submitting themselves, and they're very much, some of them are very much afraid. They were folding their hands, they were offering prayers to this great form, and the hosts of sages and perfect beings, they were all chanting the Vedic hymns, and they were crying out, all peace, all peace.
रुद्रादित्या वसवो ये च साध्या विश्वेश्विनौ मरुतश्चोष्मपाश्चा गन्धर्वयक्षासुरसिद्धसङ्गा वीक्षन्ति त्वां विस्मिताश्चैव सर्वे. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishwadevas, the two Ashvis, the Marutas, the forefather, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. So this is again confirming that all these living entities who are situated in the higher planetary system, actually everybody could have darshan of this most magnanimous, most powerful form of the Supreme Lord, the universal form. So they were all actually seeing, and they were all wonderstruck. They were all beholding that in wonder. And in the previous verse we saw, they were all crying out Swasti, Swasti, because they wanted all peace. So they could see that this is such an ugra form of the Supreme Lord, with fire coming out, blazing fire coming out from his mouth, etc. So they were perturbed, and simultaneously they were wonderstruck, and they were praying, and they were watching this unique form. So the Supreme Lord was petitioned by the demigods, who were afraid, praying, and they were wonderstruck. So now the demigods, if we remember that in chapter number 7, when we were reading there, and Krishna says that those who worship demigods are less intelligent. So why they are less intelligent, we can understand with the condition of the demigods. So now here we see that the demigods are fearful. Do we remember any incident where Krishna gets so fearful? I mean, he is so scared and he is so petrified. Do we remember any such situation? So there are so many demons. If we read Srimad Bhagavatam, almost every next chapter, and there is a demon who comes. And sometimes it is Indra, or sometimes it is Brahma also, who tries to test Krishna. But then for Krishna, it is never described that he was so afraid. There are few occasions where Krishna is afraid, where Krishna is scared. But then he is not scared of demons. He's scared of his own devotees. He gets scared of Mother Yashoda. He gets scared of Srimati Radharani. He sometimes gets scared of his elder brother Balaram. So of all these devotees, he gets scared. Why? Because he's tied by love to these devotees. But then otherwise, in front of the demon, like if there is Agasura or Trinavrata or any other demon, Putana and all, and Krishna was smiling always. But here we see the condition of the demigods, the devatas. So how they get, how they are so afraid, and how in their fear they have started praying to the Supreme Lord. So that is why Krishna says that those who worship the devatas are less intelligent, and those who worship Krishna are udaradi, or broad-minded people. Rupam mahatte bahuvatra netram mahabaho bahu bahu rupadam bahudaram bahudamstrakaranam drishtva loka pravyatitastataham.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. So here this description, now there is this astonishment has now turned into fear for Arjuna and for all these personalities also who are watching from higher planets. So first it was astonishment, and then they began to surrender, offer prayers, and now it is terrifying them. And they're all very disturbed, and Arjuna is saying, I am also very, very disturbed.
Nabhah sprasham deeptamaneka varnam व्यात्ताननं दीप्तविशालनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णु दंष्ट्राकरालानि च ते मुखानि दृष्ट्वैव कालानलसन्निभानि दिशो न जाने न लभे च शर्मा प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवासा.
So here Arjuna is describing, expressing his pitiful state, so that Lord withdraws this terrifying form.
O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions, I am bewildered. So now we see what is the impact of this universal form on the sweet and loving relationship with Krishna and Arjun would share. So they were very close to each other. They were very friendly. I mean, best of the friends, Krishna and Arjun. They were also cousins. So they were very close, similar age and all that. And now suddenly one of the friend is showing this universal form and the other friend is so scared. So Arjun has forgotten his relationship itself with Krishna, that how sweet it used to be. And here he is just begging and praying to Krishna that please take off this form. So the rasa, the relationship what Krishna and Arjun was sharing till now, it changes. So he says that the demigods are disturbed and so am I. My mind is perturbed by fear. My mind is captivated by fear and it's so disturbing. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. I cannot keep my balance in all directions. I am bewildered. So now, in today's quiz, there was this question that universal form is the topmost form. And some of you mentioned it true. But here we see that how universal form, it's creating so much of fear and anxiety in the mind of somebody who's so close to Krishna also. So that is why we understand that the best form, which we will see towards the end of the chapter, that the best form is actually the two-handed form of Krishna, the Shyama Sundar form of Krishna.
And unfortunately, if somebody is watching some horror movie or some very fearful movie, one can always switch off the mobile phone or the laptop or the computer or walk out of the cinema hall. But here Arjuna has no option. Where can he run away? He cannot run away. This is all around him. He's seeing those gaping mouths and those terrible teeth and that fearful fire and other things, and there's no escape for him. So he's just requesting, Lord, please, I'm not able to hold on to my balance.
And now we'll see in this section, verse number 26 to 30, how Arjun would see the future outcome of war. And before we go there, here is a small announcement. So we have come up with our new course, and the title of this course is Worship at Home. So by this time, when we are in the 11th chapter, almost completing the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we assume that you all would like to actually worship Krishna at home. So here, this is our first digital course, which we have designed keeping all of you in mind. And this course have various features like how to offer arati, what all ingredients do I require, how to set my altar, who all should be there on my altar, where do I keep Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and where do I keep Krishna on my altar, or for example, that what items do I offer to Krishna, what can be part of the bhoga, do I have to chant some mantra while offering bhoga. So many such questions. So it's a very, very practical course which talks about how you can actually worship Krishna at home. Also, it's a self-paced program. You can do it at your own convenience time. The whole course is already available at our website, studygita.com/WAH. So go to that link, register for the course and get into action and let's hope that by next session, when you all come back, you complete this course.
And there are devotees who have completed this course in a couple of hours. So it's not a very long course. Can complete in few hours if you do it at a stretch. Otherwise, you can always break it up and do it in few days.
And we have all these, this course has another unique feature that everything we have downloadable material also. So like how to chant a particular mantra. So there are audios available there, or what all paraphernalia, the list of paraphernalia, again the PDF is available there which you can download. The pictures are available there for download. So you can download everything and you can actually set up your altar. Also, it's a very interactive course where there are many unique features, unique exercises or activities which would help in enhancing your learning. And yes, like all our courses, this is also absolutely free. Ami chatvam dhritarashtrasya putra sarve sahaivavani palasangai Bhishmo dronah sut putrastathasav saha samadhiyairapi yodhamukhyai Vaktrani te parmamana vishanti Damshtra karalani bhayanakani Kechit vilagna dashanantareshu Sandreshyante churnitairotamange.
All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also are rushing into your fearful mouths. And some I see trapped with their heads smashed between your teeth. So this vision is continuing, and now what Arjuna is seeing now, he's seeing that all these sons of Dhritarashtra, including Duryodhana, they are all rushing into the mouth of the Lord and their allied kings. And who are the most powerful warriors? Bhishma. Bhishma was actually practically considered defeatless. I mean, he cannot be defeated. That was the position of Bhishma, that nobody can defeat him on this battlefield. But even Bhishma, Dronacharya, and Karna, all of them were rushing into the mouth of the Lord. And Arjuna did not see them. He saw that from his side also the major generals, the main generals and the soldiers were also rushing into the fearful mouths of the Lord. And mouth means they were all dying. They were all going to die in this battle. And some of their heads were stuck between the teeth of the Lord, and their heads were getting smashed. So this is seen by Arjuna, and actually this would be of interest to Arjuna, because Arjuna was not sure what would be the outcome of this war, whether they will win or we will win. But from this vision, it was beyond doubt. It was made very, very clear to him that the win is guaranteed for Pandavas. Lord himself has guaranteed this. And especially because Bhishma was also going to die in this battle, who was unconquerable.
Yatha nadina bahavo vega samudrameva vimukha dravanti tatha tavami naraloka vira vishanti vaktrani abhivejvalanti yatha pradiptam jvalanam patanga Vishanti nashaya samriddha vega tathaiva nashaya vishanti lokas tavapi vaktrani samriddha vega leliyaste grastamana samantar lokan samagran vedanairjvalabhi Tejobhirapurya jagat samagram
Bhasastavogra pratapanti Vishnu.
As of the many waves of the river flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. So here Arjun is describing what he is seeing, and basically he is seeing that everyone is dying. Everyone dies at the end of the battlefield except for the Pandavas. He does not see himself rushing there, but he sees all the great warriors actually rushing and dying. And two examples are given. One, like how the rivers flow into the ocean. So, with so much of force and flow in one single direction, we see that the river actually flows towards the ocean. And the other example given is of moth and the fire. So moth is patanga, that small insect. When we light a candle and we see that they automatically come. So these moths also come rushing. They become so attracted towards the fire. They have no control on their sense of seeing. So they see the fire, they become attracted to it, and they know that they would die, and yet they get into it. So similarly, Arjuna is describing here that what is happening is devouring all soldiers of both army on both sides, and Arjun would be definitely victorious in this way because everybody is rushing in Krishna's mouth. So Krishna sort of gives him an assurance here also that don't think that Bhishma or Drona or Karna, they are so very powerful that you would be defeated. I have already killed them. Like they are bound to die. And that is what Arjun sees here. Moving to the next subsection, verse 31 to 34, question and answer. Akyahi me ko bhavanogra rupo namostu te devavara prasida vigyatumichhami bhavantamadhyam nahi prajanami tava pravrittim.
O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. So, although Arjuna knew that Krishna is his friend, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he saw such an astounding form, Arjuna became bewildered. He became very puzzled that what is the purpose of these various forms that are exhibited by Krishna? What is the mission of this devastating force? So why is Krishna is having this fearful form? What is the purpose? I want to know about you. What is your mission? And Arjuna at the same time is offering his obeisances, he's pleading to the Lord. Now he's pleading, please be gracious to me. Please tell me who you are. This very, very fierce form of yours. So Arjuna has finally asked these questions. Who are you? You are such a sweet form, but now this bewildering form in front of me, fearful form. Who are you and what is your mission?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kalosmi Lokashaya Krit Pravriddho Lokan Samahartumiha Pravritta Ritepi Tvam Na Bhavishyanti Sarve Yeva Stita Prati Anikeshu Yodha. So finally Krishna is talking. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, said. And what does he say? Kalo asmi. Kal, main samay hu. Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds. And I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So Krishna is describing here who he is and what is his mission. So who is he? He is time. So with time, actually everything comes into existence. With time, things grow. With time, things develop and become mature. With time, things starts dwindling. And ultimately, with time, the things comes to an end. So like in our life also, or whichever place we are located as of now, if we turn around and see, we would not find even a single thing in the room where you are which would not get devoured with time. Time destroys everything. Right? So Krishna is saying that I am that time, the great destroyer of the world. So I have come here to destroy everyone. So with time, everybody is destroyed. All of our bodies are destroyed with time. And then here he is stating with context to the battle. So he is saying, with the exception of you, the Pandavas, everybody is going to die. So time I am, even if Arjuna did not want to fight, they will die anyway. Why? Because Krishna has already decided. Krishna is already saying that this is what is going to happen. This is my mission. So though Arjun was not in favor of fighting and he thought it was better not to fight because then there would be no frustration. But here Krishna is replying to that. The Lord is saying that even if you don't fight, everyone would be destroyed. And why so? Because that is Krishna's plan. That is why he has come. So his mission is to destroy everything. All the people in the world except Pandavas would be destroyed. So he's saying, you want to fight, you fight. You don't want to fight, but that would not change the outcome because that is my mission. So this fight is not Arjuna's thing. This fight is actually Krishna's mission. And here is our first life lesson for the day. Time destroys all. Are we progressing towards our destruction or eternal perfection? So with time, everything is moving. Which direction are we moving? Are we progressing towards attaining spiritual perfection with time or not? Because it's high time we should start progressing in that direction.
And you know what is the funniest statement anybody can make? Sometimes people are just sometimes people are just sitting and whiling away their time, and they say, you know what I do, I'm just passing time. Or sometimes they're even so audacious to say that I'm killing time. You cannot kill time. Time is killing you.
With every moment.
With every moment, our lifespan is reducing. The sun, every rising of the sun and every setting of the sun is compared to a saw. So morning happens, grrr, night happens, grrr. So like that, the time is like a saw which is sawing our tree of life. It is cutting. So some of us, maybe half of the tree is already cut. For some of us, maybe 70-80% of the tree is cut. For some of us, maybe 20-30% tree is cut. But our tree, from the day I take birth, our cutting of the tree begins. Death is inevitable.
Die in Krishna's colors before you die. So it says DYE. So let's dye our consciousness into Krishna consciousness. So like we dye so many things. We dye our hair. But forget about dyeing hair. Here we are talking about dyeing our consciousness. Let's dip our consciousness and dye in Krishna's colors before I actually DIE, die.
Very nice life lesson. Can take a screenshot and refer to it daily.
Tasmat tvamuttishta yasho labhasva jitva shatrun bhungshva rajyam samriddham mayaivaite nihata purvameva nimitta matram bhavasavya.
Therefore, so this verse is being spoken by the Lord. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement. And you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So Lord is saying, Tasmat tvam utishtha, get up Arjuna and you fight. They have all been put to death by man arrangement. All you have to do is fight and win glory. So arrangement is that of the Lord, but the credit goes to the devotee. So this is the special nature of the Lord. The Lord does everything, but he gives the credit to his devotees. So the arrangement is that all these soldiers on the battlefield are put to death by Lord, but the credit will be taken by Arjuna. So that's why when we read Mahabharata, we see that Arjuna is fighting so valiantly. In fact, one of the days, I think the day after his son is killed, Arjuna slaughters one Akshauni Sena. One Akshauni Sena of the Kauravas. Kauravas had 11 Akshauni. So 1/11th of the army was single-handedly killed by Arjuna on one day. Right? So when we read all those descriptions, I mean, we just marvel at the ability of Arjuna. Right? But of course, we understand that's all planned for him by the Supreme Lord. And here Krishna calls that Sabyasachi. You are such a powerful fighter. You can fight, shoot arrows with both of your arms. Just become Nimitta Matra. Just become an instrument in this fight. So the writer is the Lord. Just become the pen. And coordinate and cooperate with the Lord's desire. So this is what Lord is expecting. So we need to understand that this whole world is moving according to God's plan. This whole world is moving according to God's plan. What do foolish people think? The atheists think. They think, no, everything is happening by chance. Big Bang happened by chance. This, out of a huge explosion, this beautiful arrangement of an earth came by chance. Everything is happening by accident in this material world. It's all by an accident in this nature. And therefore they have this mentality of domination. They do not see God, they do not see God's hand, they do not see God's arrangement, and therefore they develop this mentality of domination. Now we see this war happening between Russia and Ukraine. What is it? This war is again war of domination. There is this conflict between India and China. There's this conflict between Taiwan and China and US, and we see that this whole mentality behind everything is mentality of domination. Either it is by force or it is by economics, right? But what the devotees understand that behind everything there is God's plan. And what is the God's plan behind this material world? There is only one plan, which is very simple to understand. And that plan is that this material world is a chance for every living entity to finish his business in this painful place of misery, material world, finish his business here and go back to the eternal blissful world, spiritual world. So that is the plan, to go back home, back to Godhead. That is the plan of the Lord behind creating this material world. So if you understand this plan, then it's very easy for us to not have that domineering spirit, to have that spirit of domination on everything, and then everything is meant for my enjoyment, and to actually become humble servant of the devotees of the Lord. So this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna: become my instrument, Nimitta Matra, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom, and you will take the glories of winning this war.
Actually, when we become an instrument in the hands of the Lord, then only we can attain perfection. Then only we can be happy and successful in this life also. What to talk about spiritual perfection? Even in this life, we can be happy only when we align ourselves with Krishna's unique plans, whatever he has planned, and I go along with that plan, and that is how I am successful.
And there is only one plan, as we discussed. Real happiness is by becoming an instrument in Krishna's hands.
Actually, the example what you were giving of a pen. So suppose if I have a pen and the pen says that I will not write what you want me to write, I'll write my own story. So then we may just throw that pen in the dustbin and we may get another pen. Why? Because a pen is useful to us till the time it writes what we want to write it with. So similarly, real happiness is by becoming an instrument in Krishna's hand. When we allow Krishna to use and utilize our talents, our resources, our money, our knowledge, our beauty, whatever we have, if we allow Krishna to utilize, that is what is known as becoming a nimitta matra, or an instrument in Krishna's hands.
Dronam cha bhishmam cha jayadratham cha karnam tathanyanapi yodhaviran maya hatam svam jahima vyadishta yuddhasvajeta sirane sapatnan.
Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna and other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. So here Krishna is giving that assurance also that you will vanquish your enemies in battle. So Krishna is telling that I have chosen you to become my instrument. You just be my instrument, follow whatever is my plan, follow whatever is my mission, and victory would be yours. And you don't have to get disturbed. So he's saying, therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. So do not be disturbed and just follow what I am saying.
Uttishta, get up and fight. So many times Krishna has actually spoken that.
So Krishna desires the battle indicated by the word, I have already killed them. And what should Arjuna do, or what we shall do? Perform our duties. So do not get disturbed on the way of performing your duties. This is your duty and you perform it. Jetasi indicates you will be victorious. So if I align myself with Krishna's plan. Now here we may get a question that for here we see Krishna is directly telling Arjun that do this, get up and fight, Uttishta. But how do I know what to do and what not to do? So that is why we have spiritual master. That is why we have senior devotees. That is why we have Srila Prabhupada, who has given such wonderful purports in his books, so that we get the instructions from them and we follow that. And if we follow that, then we would be victorious, Jetasi, and get the credit of being my instrument. So this is how this section is concluded. For the next session, kindly read verses 35 to 55 and we'll be completing chapter 11 in the next class.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as we have described, Worship at Home course is ready. Please visit studygita.com/WAH and check out the new offering. Thank you. Hare Krishna.